Anthony S. Jackson here. Before we start, a quick note for context. The ideas in this video come from my books Quiet Confidence and Leadership OS, which present leadership as an operating system, rather than a set of behaviors. It is written for leaders who already carry responsibility and want their organizations to function without constant personal intervention. If this way of thinking resonates as we go, the book simply gives you the full architecture behind it. Servant leadership is one of the most celebrated leadership philosophies of the last 20 years. But here's the truth that almost no one will talk about. Servant leadership is quietly damaging technology teams, not because the intention is wrong, but because the application is incompatible with the complexity of modern engineering work. A 2019 systematic review in the Leadership Quarterly concluded that despite thousands of studies, servant leadership continues to suffer from a lack of definitional clarity, which has impeded its theory development. If you've ever felt like you're supposed to serve everyone while simultaneously trying to lead them, you've felt this tension. One of the biggest traps in servant leadership is the belief that managers should serve first and lead second. This leads directly to jumping into technical work, constantly rescuing the team, protecting your team from reality, and avoiding hard conversations. It leads to becoming the nice person who holds everything together. Because the research on servant leadership still lacks definitional clarity and consistent measurement, this ambiguity often invites overextension, especially when managers interpret servant leadership as serve first in ambiguous real-world settings. When managers overfunction, teams underfunction. LeadershipOS fixes this with clear roles, clear boundaries, and a system the entire team can align around. Research doesn't show that servant leadership directly causes burnout, but it does show a related psychological trap. Overhelping creates dependency, and it reduces initiative. In 2021, in the Journal of Psychology, Lau et al. Found servant leadership may unintentionally reinforce follower dependency. This is exactly what you see in tech. Team members who wait for decisions, teams that seek permission instead of taking ownership, managers who become bottlenecks. LeadershipOS avoids this by building independent thinkers, not dependent followers. In the case against being a servant leader, 2019, Harvard Business Review warns that overly accommodating leadership styles can cause leaders to appear weak or indecisive. Sound familiar? Many technology managers undercompensate on authority because they don't want to seem controlling. But engineering teams do not need a manager who is afraid to lead. They need clarity, direction, and decisions. LeadershipOS replaces timid leadership with calm, grounded authority. Servant leadership works best in small, stable, low-complexity environments. But technology engineering? Let's face it, it's none of those things. A 2022 systematic review by Conovesi and Manelli argues that servant leadership may not be suitable for organizations operating in fast-changing environments, where decisions must be made quickly. And I don't know anyone who's trying to operate on a day-to-day in those kind of environments. I mean, fast-changing, decisions have to be made quickly. I can't imagine that kind of an environment. They go on to say this is because those contexts demand a more top-down approach than the bottom-up style typical of servant leadership. They also warn that excessive empathy and healing from leaders can become overprotective, creating a disabling environment that discourages proactive behavior and fosters dependency and creates followers. Engineering teams are dynamic. The systems are complex. Deadlines are real, and ambiguity is constant. So managers who try to serve instead of lead get swallowed by the complexity. LeadershipOS is built to scale. Structure leads to independence, which leads to predictable execution. Engineering teams need more than kindness and support. They need leaders who are calm under pressure, that are decisive when facing ambiguity, and structured in their approach. And, very importantly, consistent with expectations. Servant leadership overcorrects for historical command and control models, but ends up too soft for high-demand, high-stakes environments. LeadershipOS brings strength without ego, calm without passivity, and structure without micromanagement. The research shows servant leadership lacks definitional clarity. It increases follower dependency. It may not be appropriate in fast-changing environments and can lead to a perception of weakness or indecisiveness in IT projects. Combine all of that, and the conclusion becomes obvious. Servant leadership is not the model for modern technology teams. LeadershipOS is the alternative. Calm, clear, structured, scalable, built for engineering realities. If you want to understand how your current leadership system is actually operating, I have a short scorecard that shows where your organization is structurally dependent on you and where it is beginning to stabilize on its own. You can find it at the link below. It is purely diagnostic and will show you which parts of the system are doing the work and which parts are still relying on you.